This is the ROS Developers Podcast, episode 109.
The ROS Developers Podcast, the ROS Developers. The ROS Developers Podcast, the ROS Developers.
Hello, ROS developers, and welcome to the ROS Developers Podcast, the podcast that gives you insights from the experts about how to program your robots with ROS. This is Ricardo from The Construct, and today I would like to dedicate this episode to the people that are working to create ROS-based robots to do all the most tedious tasks, like ironing, cleaning, or refilling the toilet paper when it's finished. Those terrible tasks. Well, anyway, today we are going to learn a lot about an amazing Singaporean company that is the leader worldwide in the field of cleaning robots. We will learn how they did it, what is the role of ROS in the project, and some advices for entrepreneurs. But before going into that, let me tell you that in case you still believe that ROS is the good path for you and for your team, then you can learn ROS too with The Construct. We provide self-led trainings based on robot simulations and remote real robots, or also personalized trainings for your team also. You can follow the lessons using a web browser and practice from minute 1 with the simulated robots. Additionally, as you advance with the lessons, you will practice with real robots located in Barcelona. Yes, they are available 24/7. You will remotely connect to the robots and do your practice. Have a look at our webpage about the different subjects that you can learn about ROS 1 and, of course, ROS 2, and start practicing with robots from minute 1 with The Construct. And okay, so now let's go to the meat of this episode, and then I will let you now with Ricardo. Ricardo, your turn.
Okay, and now let me introduce you Dylan, the CEO and co-founder of Lionsbot. What is Lionsbot? Why are we interviewing him today for the ROS Developers Podcast? You're going to learn in a minute. So welcome to the podcast, Dylan.
Hi everyone, I'm Dylan and I'm so glad to be on the podcast today.
Yeah, it is my pleasure to meet you, and we met this morning during the ROS Industrial presentation that you did today at the workshop, and it was very motivating for me and very inspiring. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I'm glad you liked it.
Yes, and then I want to talk about the robots that you develop, but first let me know a little bit about your role. What is your role at Lionsbot?
Yes, well, officially I'm the CEO and co-founder of Lionsbot, but what that means is besides the fun things of doing strategy, I'm also the general worker that has to go around and help out in any way possible. At Lionsbot, we always have a lot of different projects, a lot of cleaning robots that we're building, so I enjoy jumping in and brainstorming together and just understanding all the thinking processes and the design concepts that we're coming up with. That is maybe the best part of the job.
Because you have started this company how long ago?
Well, Lionsbot is a young startup. We started in early 2018, so that would make us about 4.5 years old.
Yes.
Since then, we are going to launch 9. We have launched 9 robot models, and we are in 28 countries with over 1,200 robots.
Wow, that's very quick in such short amount of time. That's awesome. That's awesome. I was working on another company before working for The Construct, and there we were developing human-sized humanoid robots.
Yes.
And then, so I know how difficult it is to create a robotics product. I mean a product that you can sell, not a demo that works for the videos, Yes. So it's awesome that you develop this amount of different robots in such a short amount of time.
Thank you. Pure pain. But I would say having ROS and all the packages and the open source community, it really helped us in our development. Pre-ROS days, this would have been impossible.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That is true. That is a very good point. But then you're talking about the robots. We have here one beside you. But so tell to the audience, which kind of robots does your company produce? What are the jobs? I mean, okay, so
yes, the robot is humming. Well, at Lionsbot, we produce professional cleaning robots. So these are not the small home vacuum robots that you would see around. These are strong and medium or bigger size robots that are used to clean large areas. We're talking about airports and schools. We're talking about factories and warehouses. We're talking about buildings and hotels. So for example, next to me, there is the R3 Scrub. This is a groundbreaking robot because it's the first what we call a mini size scrubbing robot in the world. It's the very first one, and it was launched in April this year. The uptake has been tremendous because it's small, it's easy to use, it is easy to deploy, and it works. So a lot of countries, they find difficulty in having enough cleaning workforce. That's why they choose to use robots, and something like the R3 is a good balance of scrubbing power, ease of use, and affordability.
Okay, so that's what you call the R3.
Yes.
Right? And then there is another one that I have seen on the entrance when I was coming here, which is huge robot. What's this one?
Well,
it's super cool.
The super cool big one that you saw outside is called the R12 Rex, REX. Now, a lot of people would think that Rex stands for T-Rex. Actually, Rex is Latin for king. So this is the king of cleans, the king of cleaning robots.
Okay.
Yes, and I would invite the audience to go to lionsbot.com to check out the Rex. It looks good.
Okay, yes, I will put a link on the show notes to all this material and different robots. So for the audience, you can follow the show notes and get access to those robots and check them. And then, so those robots, they are cleaning robots. But what is the actual problem that they are trying to solve? Because I know you are going to tell me cleaning. No, but cleaning, there is the Roomba, for example. So which kind of problem are really attacking those robots?
Yes. So what these robots do is they clean large areas. Now, let me explain. When we use a Roomba for a house, most houses are limited in size. So, and it's okay for the Roomba to hit the furniture and to just self-discover, all right? But when it comes to an airport, most guests at the airport would not want a robot hitting into their luggage or hitting into their legs. So the robot has to be smart. And on top of that, if you see the size of an airport, your LiDAR coverage, your localization accuracy, your path planning, everything needs to be there at a higher level because these become very commercialized, very industrial robots that have to be dependable and run every day. We are talking about robots that would, like for example, our Rex, it is good for 10 hours on one charge. So we have many customers that run for hundreds of hours every month, you know, and it has to be work at a very high level, clean at a very consistent level, dependable day in, day out.
Okay, but then you mentioned that, for example, that the people at the airport doesn't want their baggage being hit.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you achieve that? Because, for example, so which kind of sensors and how do you avoid the corner cases, you know, situation? Because different luggages, different positions of the luggages is like, so how do you manage all that?
Yes. So we actually have, we use multiple redundant sensors and we do a big sensor fusion. It is very important for a cleaning robot to have a surround sensors that you're able to see everything. Our primary localization sensor would be our LiDAR. So it could be a 2D LiDAR or a 3D LiDAR. And then we have depth cameras that are give us a point cloud surrounding our robots. We also have quite a few sonars around the robot that would protect the robot in case the depth cameras or the LiDARs could not see the obstacle. It could be like glass, for example.
Yes,
so the
exactly.
sonars would be able to tell. And all these are fused together. Now, one of the things that we do is we also don't go touching the luggage we would have we'll leave some distance, like 10 centimeters away, so at least we'll move away. And also we have what we call a dynamic speed reduction. So when we see people nearby, we'll slow down automatically, just in case, you know, they jump in front of our robots, because you can have children or sometimes you have teenagers that want to test out your robot.
Yes, that's, now that you mentioned this, I have seen some other robots that they don't do that. So they go on the for example, on the warehouse, and they have the route already set out, and then they go, even if they are autonomous, okay? So they can avoid obstacles, but there is somebody approaching, and then they just keep the speed, because, but I also feel the same situation that you mentioned, that at some point in time, this person can, for some reason, just put in the middle of the trajectory, and then the robot will not have that time. So I think it's very important, this point that you mentioned, reduce the speed when you are getting closer. Yes. But then that has some drawbacks, right? Because then the speed at which they can do their job is not that.
Well, we compensate for it by asking the customers to deploy when there are not so many people around.
Okay.
and what happens is this, because in many warehouses, due to the professional setting, people know better than to jump in front of the robot.
Yeah.
But in a shopping mall or in an airport, the guest comes first, the humans come first, so the robot has to adapt.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yes, that's right. Because it's true, in the warehouse, the people that are there, they know about the robots, but in the airport, people is just doing their things. They don't have to learn about the robot. So yes, they could be more unpredictable, right? Yes. Yeah, that's right. Makes sense, makes perfect sense. And then, so your robots, they are autonomous.
Yes,
right.
Our robots are designed to be fully autonomous. The challenge of building a good cleaning robot is, you know, a lot of robots, they just move from point A to point B, avoiding obstacles along the way. Now, that is fine, but a professional cleaning robot has to have maximum area coverage. So you have to intentionally go near obstacles and avoid them, and to finish the entire area in a consistent manner. So that leads to a lot of challenges in terms of path planning, in terms of obstacle avoidance, in terms of for example, sometimes you have bright sunlight or you have reflective flaws, you know, and how do you detect that? There will also be challenges in terms of negative obstacle detection. So all these are very real challenges that come that a professional cleaning robot needs to navigate and overcome.
Okay, and then, okay, so I have some other questions, but now that you mentioned, then, so how do you manage that? Do you use ROS for all that?
Yes, so our robots are running on ROS. Currently it is ROS 1, but a lot of the stacks we have developed in-house ourselves, because that we fine-tune and we really improve it so that it is perfect for the floor cleaning robots.
Okay, so can I say that maybe the path planning that you have developed, algorithm, that is using your robot within ROS, it's a special path planner that you have developed for that specific task of cleaning floors in the maximum way, covering all the area and doing as fast as possible. So this kind of constraint, right?
Yes, and also to keep fine-tuning it, and also I would say the behavior of the robots, that we fine-tune it to be perfect for cleaning robots, and we also fine-tune a lot of, for example, the parameters of the robot, how it should work in different environments.
And are those algorithms open source or are proprietary material from your company?
Those algorithms are proprietary right now, but we are constantly improving. So once we hit a certain level of maturity, then we'll be sharing it.
Okay, yes, we'll look for that, okay? Yes. Because, no, I'm telling because the audience, so they are, a lot of them, they are developers, and then they like to try by themselves and so on.
I mean, we benefited a lot from the open source community.
Exactly,
and I think it's a great thing, but for our part, we will feel embarrassed if we share something and then people find a lot of bugs in it. So that's why we need a certain level of maturity before we feel that, okay, this is a good standard to share.
Okay. I understand that feeling. But then whenever you have it ready, please contact me and I can also tell to the audience that it's available.
That would be great.
Okay. Then let me see. Okay. So you are based on ROS 1 and yeah, you mentioned, but the question is, why are you based on ROS?
Well, okay, you see, why are we based on ROS?
Yes.
Well, then what are we going to be based on? Because a lot of the drivers were already developed for ROS, a lot of software packages. ROS makes developing robots, that makes the technical bar and the expense of developing a robot much less.
Yeah. Well, but I'm asking you that because some other companies, actually I have an interview in a few weeks in another company and they are not using ROS. So I want to ask them the same question just to understand why they, so of course every company has its own reasons to decide, but I'm also on your opinion. With your opinion, I agree with your opinion. So it allows you to speed up the development and also you don't have to be maintaining all that code or the whole framework. So you are avoiding this burden and also move faster. So that's...
Yes, that's right. I mean, we look at speed to market. That is the most important thing for us.
Yeah.
We could, of course, put in the resources to recreate something like ROS and recreate the ecosystem, but I think that's resources that are not well spent.
Wasted.
And in this age and time, if there is such a good community out there with ROS, we should take it and build on it rather than build against it.
Yeah. So I completely agree. Well, do you know that the Tesla humanoid, you know that about this Tesla humanoid that they created? So I understood that, of course, they don't use ROS. So they, in this case, for example, that's an example of one company that just released a new robot, but they are using their own system.
They have a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
When you have $1 gazillion, you can do a lot of things.
Yes, it's true. It's a good point. And then let me ask you another question more about ROS. It's about the, so you are using ROS 1.
Yes.
Then any plans on putting this into ROS 2?
Yes, actually we do. Currently, why we are using ROS 1? Because the most important thing for a commercialized product is stability. So we don't need the latest cutting edge like ROS 2, but we need the most stable ROS 1. And currently ROS 1 has been released and it has reached a very good stability that we can depend on. However, we are seeing a lot of interest in ROS 2 and we ourselves are very keen on the developments in ROS 2, that there are a lot of advantages. So we are actively monitoring it and soon we'll be transitioning towards ROS 2. However, the most important criteria for us is stability. So that takes precedence. Cutting edge is great for a like academic research project, but stability is the foundation for a good commercialized product.
Okay. Well, yesterday, on the sessions of yesterday of the ROS Industrial Workshop Asia, there was this question. So Matt, I don't remember his surname, well, Matt from the ROS Industrial America Consortium, he asked, so what is preventing you from jumping into ROS 2? So companies especially, so what is preventing you from jumping from ROS 2? And one of the answers could be what you mentioned, right? Is that it's not so stable yet. Yes, as that could be one of the answers. I don't know exactly at present, okay, I don't know exactly the degree of stability of ROS 2. I don't know, but of course it's a lot newer. There is a lot. ROS 2 is still increasing the functionalities that are getting added. So yeah. Well, and ROS 1 is very, very mature because it's been there for more than 10 years, and so yeah. Okay. Just say.
I would
thoughts of my
say
mind.
that you see, like for example, for a company like Lionsbot, the fact that ROS1 is already mature and our stack is on ROS1 and we can use ROS1, so we don't have to be the first one to jump to ROS2.
Yeah.
Well, we can investigate into it, we can do prototypes on it, but we in terms of a commercial release, it's still ROS1. But once we feel totally confident and we have had extensive testing done and it's very stable for our stacks and all the code that we write for it, that's when we'll release it. And it's probably about a year away.
Okay. Well, so for the audience that is there, that is interested on those points, why companies are not using ROS2. So here is a one of valid answers to that question.
Yes,
Yeah.
because when our customers buy our products, they expect it to work. ROS1 or ROS2 is not.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
They
It's
don't care.
most important is does it work, and it must work every day, and there must be no exceptions.
Exactly. Good. Then let me see. Oh, one question, technical question also.
Yes.
It's about, does this robot work with real time?
No.
In real time, so you don't need real time, right?
We don't
For the
need
speed that you move, for the robot and so on, so it's not needed. Yes. Of
Yes.
course, then ROS1 is perfectly suitable.
That is
Yes,
why.
that's-
And the thing about our robots are they are fully autonomous. So even if we lose connection and we don't have any like internet connectivity, the robots still work fine.
Yeah.
Because we built it for what we call the worst case scenario, when there's no connectivity, there's no 5G, there's no 4G, there's nothing. How is it still stable and able to run?
Okay, so then those robots, they don't need to have connection to a cloud. And okay, great.
The cloud connection is mainly about data transmission. So like for example, we can save our maps in the cloud. We can change our settings from the cloud. We can show our positions in the cloud. But all the decision making, all the obstacle avoidance, all the localization and the
path planning
it's all within the robot itself.
Okay, yes, it's fully autonomous.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Then let me tell you, so where did the idea of creating those kind of robots started from? Why did you decide to
Well, before Lionsbot, I still have another company, and that company is called Super Steam Asia Pacific. So this is a distributor of professional cleaning equipment, and we've been around since 2002. So this is our 20th year. So around by 2017, we could see that there was a trend of cleaning robots, but at that time, the technology was not that mature, so we couldn't find the right supplier. We looked for 3 different suppliers. They were either too big, too expensive, or too difficult to use. And we decided, let's make our own, all right? But when we said that, we were distributors. We have no technology. We've got no idea how to make a robot. And that's when the miracle happened. Within a week, the phone rang. And on the other side of the line was Professor Mohans, our future co-founders, teammate that called us and said, we bought a traditional cleaning machine from you. We made it semi-robotic. Would you like to come down and see? So I went down. We met Professor Mohan. We hit it off because Professor Mohan, he's an expert in robotics. And as a esteemed professor, he's trained thousands of students out there. And many of them are interested in a robotics career. But there are not so many of these to be found in Singapore. So he was looking for a commercial company to partner with. And on our end, we were looking for robotics talent to build our dream robot. So we worked together and we co-founded Lionsbot. You know, the name Lionsbot is because Lionsbot is, the word lion is because Singapore is a lion city. And lions as a plural is because lions hunt in a pack. As a pride of lions. Lions do not hunt individually. So our robots work as a team, just like how cleaners work. They work as a team in that sense. And bot as in robot. So our robots are designed in Singapore and manufactured in Singapore, and they work well together.
Oh, awesome story. Very cool. Actually, I saw the name of your company, and then also I was wondering why with an S? Because usually it would be Lionbot. Or usually it would be the kind of name with an S. Now makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And then, so how many robots have already deployed and where in the world?
So we have deployed over 1,200 robots. By year end, it should be about 1,005. And many of these robots are running in airports, they're running in schools, they're running in office buildings, in retail shops, convenience shops. They're running everywhere because you see, the world has a crisis. There's a big shortage of cleaners. And do you know that it's statistics that 1 out of every 100 workers is a cleaner? Wow. We have need for a lot of cleaning in this world, but there are less and less young people that are joining the cleaning workforce. That means that the current cleaners are getting older and they'll be retiring, and buildings are getting more, so there's not enough cleaners to go around. Guess what? Automation is the key, and with each cleaner you can equip them with a floor cleaning robot, so the cleaner can focus on customer service and other human cleaning jobs. Disinfection, wipe downs, customer service, whereas the robots are focused on floor cleaning.
Okay. That's a problem, really a problem that we can see all over the world about the, let's say, the low qualified jobs that the people, they don't want to do it anymore, other people, so we are getting short of people that can do this kind of job, and then robots is where they can enter. So I want to express this idea in general. Cleaning is one of the points, but there are other points that is happening the same, because those are ideas for the audience of the podcast that they can be thinking about. Oh, they can follow, for example, your example. You realize this on cleaning, and they can do it on on making the burgers at the burger stores. Then they can follow your example and then do the same things, create a robot specifically for solving that specific task that nobody wants to do it right now.
Yes, I would say within this 10 years, it is ripe for a great robot revolution. So in the last 20-30 years, it was the industrial robot revolution, where robots entered the car factories and robots entered warehouses in a big way. But now, because of the lack of service staff, you could have robots as security guards, robots pulling items, robots doing cleaning, robots doing inspection. I think it's the age of the service robots.
Okay, great.
And it is great because since the robots are just taking off, there's no real clear leader in the market. It's a fair chance for everyone to come in.
Yeah.
And when they come in, they can really help humanity.
Yes, exactly. Oh, very good message. Very good message. Then, so talking about your robots, how many can be deployed together? So to work together in the same area. So do you use any type of fleet management software for that?
Yes, we develop our own fleet management software. And what happens is that let's say on a floor plane, we divide it out into various zones. So each robot can look after a different zone.
Okay, so you are not using then the OpenRMF?
We are working with, we are able to be integrated into the OpenRMF.
Okay, the fleet manager, right?
Yes, so if they have RMF, perfect. But if they don't have RMF, they can still use our robots.
Yes. Okay, I see. Then that means that you provide an API for communicating with the robot, right?
Yes.
In order to to create the fleet adapter for OpenRMF.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, great. And but sorry, then based on your answer, then the fleet adapter is actually already made by you.
Yes.
For OpenRMF.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have tested it.
Okay, is it available for testing, maybe on for people to download from a GitHub or?
I need to check. I've got no idea.
Okay, so it looks like it's a very new.
Correct. It just came out, and I would say that Fleet Adapter would work with we've worked with our robot. So if people just download and there's no robot, I don't think you can really use much of it.
But do you have any simulation in Gazebo, for example? No. Oh, so you have developed all this without simulation?
Physical robot.
Okay. Yeah, well, Okay, so that's a very good point, because usually to my students I tell them, hey guys, never do that on the real robot first. Just try first on the simulation. I say that, but I have to say that it's true that I came here and then I saw that every one of the developers there, they are having one of those robots or another one of the that you have there. So they are practicing with the real robots and they are making the development with the real robots.
Yes.
And never happened something like a crazy thing, like an algorithm that went crazy and something.
There is always the emergency stop button that you can press,
yeah, okay,
and that overrides everything.
It's very clear.
Yes, and I would say working with a physical robot is great because simulation has its advantages. We are trying to use simulation for testing like path planning in bigger areas and all that. But simulation, you have to create a simulation environment, and that itself sometimes takes quite a bit of time to create that. And if we have a physical robot, you have a physical place, you just try it.
And then directly, right?
Yes,
okay,
you're right.
Okay. Then let me see. So I was asking you about the fleet management software, and then you mentioned that you have your own, and then your own fleet management system, does it follow any of the standards that they are trying to get, like BDA 5050 or mass robotics? Are you following any of those standards, or you created your own specification?
We created our own,
Okay.
but now that we understand about the VDA 5050, and because after working the Open RMF, we realized that there are other such standards out there.
Yes.
So we are trying to ensure that we can fit in with these standards, because it doesn't make sense to just have an independent system that doesn't work with open standards out there.
Yeah, I understand that perfectly, because OpenRMF, it has been just released recently, and then your product was created many years ago. Yes. Well, not many, but several years ago. And then all those things, they didn't exist at that time, so you had to develop your own. But then you are faced with one very typical situation, is when the companies that are moving ahead, they develop their own systems because they need them, and nobody else is providing them, so they need to develop by themselves, right? Yes. But then at some point in time, another technology appears that is doing the same job that those companies have created, and then providing this to the general public. So then at that time, the company is facing this problem, which is, what do I do? Do I keep maintaining my system, my core system, or do I jump into this that looks like the standard, or this? Isn't it that a situation?
Actually, it is not that difficult. If there is an open standard out there and we are not using the open standard, then we'll be disqualified. So we just have to start using it.
Yes, that completely agree with you.
Whatever past effort we put in is already past effort. We just have to move on.
Yeah.
But the good thing is we already have a foundation, so it's easier to adapt.
Yes, that is right. But I completely agree with you on what you said, but I have seen so many times the people that didn't do the same thing. They just kept investing because on the old thing that they have developed, because they are kind of emotionally attached to what they have developed, and also because it represents a huge effort also.
But it's a psychological thing. Past effort has already been put in.
Yes.
So you can't use past effort to dictate your future efforts.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like thinking about divorcing. You are right. For example, you are in a bad situation with your couple right now, and then you don't want to divorce because you have been many years together, and you don't want to break this. But the situation is all the past investment that you are considering.
I'll give you an example. Maybe if a person grew up learning COBOL.
Oh yeah.
Then if there's not much use for that language, you got to change to C++ or learn Python, and you just do it.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Move on with the times.
Yes, 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 that's right. Well, there are many companies, not many, okay? So I always say many because it's my English level. So, but I mean several companies they didn't do the transition into ROS, so they kept using their old systems.
Yes.
And well, I think that most of them they are dead. Of service robots. Service robots. I'm not saying that this is the reason, the only reason, okay? But I'm sure that was one of the reasons of that make them. For example, I remember this robot which is Vector, super cool robot.
Yes.
Do you know this small robot that? Actually, yeah, that one, and then it looks a little bit similar in the eyes to your. Yes, exactly. That was awesome. A piece of engineering impressive. They created their own system, even if ROS was already available when they started, but they kept on doing this, and then, well, now it's closed, this company.
What a pity.
Yeah, what a pity, because it was very good product.
Yes.
Okay, then let me see. So how easy it is to deploy your robot? So can I do it by myself, or you need to, for example, I buy, okay, let's imagine I'm not an engineer. Okay, I'm the person who owns a business, and then I buy one of your robots. Do I need somebody from your team or your distributors that come to my place and teach me?
There are different levels of deploying a robot. And the simplest way is using what we call just clean. With just clean, you just push around the perimeter of the place and it will form its own cleaning path and you'll start cleaning.
Okay.
For that sort of deployment, anyone can do it. But if you buy a robot from us and you also will get the robot deployment service built in. I mean, it is part of the package. So a professional would come down, would map out your place and would form the good cleaning zones, would test it and train your people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you could choose not to have it and do the mapping yourself, but come on, you paid for it.
Okay.
Because most people who buy a cleaning robot just want to use it. They do not want to know the technicalities of mapping.
Exactly.
They just work.
Yes. I have tested your just clean mode.
It's easy, right? Within a minute, anyone can do it.
It was very easy. It's just simple. Pressing a button on the screen. There is a touch screen there.
Yes.
On the top of the robot, and then just press in there and say start, and then you move manually, and then you are showing the path, and then afterwards it just repeats the path.
Yes.
Okay, and then let me see. So once this deployment of your robot in the facilities of the customer has been done, and it's been shown how to make it work, then the robot is autonomous 24/7.
Yes, fully autonomous.
Fully autonomous, and then it goes to recharge by itself also.
Yes, so we have what we call refuel stations where the robots can go for charging. It can refill the clean water and can discharge the wastewater.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, and that refill station also serves as the localization point, the starting point of the robot.
So you can set for sure that the robot is at that position right now.
Yes.
Okay, yes, that's right, because this robot, of course, is not only a robot that is moving around and then, I don't know, taking just a little bit of dirt, but it's also generating some dirty water and also consuming clean water.
Yes.
So it has to release all this afterwards at some point in time, because otherwise it cannot continue 24/7.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Then, are your robots providing any SDK or API for developers? So let's say another company buys your robot and builds an application on top of it for, I don't know, for airports. So they used your robot as a platform for developing the whole application. Or maybe they can integrate this robot with another robot from another brand, and they create a fleet, and they can deliver this to a third-party customer.
Yes, we don't currently have any like full-fledged SDKs and all that. We do have some APIs that can connect to like fleet management systems or, for example, smart dashboards. But in terms of developing additional software in our robots, currently we don't have it because we find that when people buy a cleaning robot, they just want to clean.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't exactly want your cleaning robot to serve you tea.
Yes. Well, I'm asking you because many of the people on the audience, they are developers, and then maybe they will be interested. But with an API that you can send commands and request data from the robot itself, then it will. I think it is enough in order to use your robot as a part of a bigger application.
Yes.
It's enough.
Yes. For those, usually we work with like a systems integrator companies, or for example, companies that provide the smart dashboards that we can work together on those type of projects.
Okay, so one question: how important is the user interface, and how does it work? How important is the user interface? Because many of the audience, they are developers, and then they just care about the robot moving around and cleaning. Okay, so perfectly. But what about the user interface? How important it is?
I think that's a $1 million question. The way I put it across is this: why are we developing this robot? If you're developing a robot for yourself to see it moving around, you don't need a user interface. You can have a pure command prompt. But if you're going to develop a robot for normal human beings to use, nobody needs to know the underlying Linux code. Nobody needs to send commands. They just want something that is so nice to use.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, let's talk about a rice cooker. That has a user interface to a user experience. You just press a button and it just works. And that's why we use a rice cooker. Or for example, a television. You press the start and it turns on. You change the channel and you watch something. That is what people want. Imagine if a television, after you turn it on, you have to go in and start a few ROS instances and all that. It's not going to happen, right? Nobody want to use it. So if we truly want our robots to help humanity, if we truly want to make an impact in robotics, and if you truly want to reach out to normal people to use it, I think the user interface is everything. Remember, nobody can judge how technically advanced your code is, but they can see how difficult to use the robot is.
Wow, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yes. Yes. So the problem is that we developers, then we think about solving the difficult algorithm that makes the robot intelligent and so on, but we usually don't care that much. But if some people of the audience, they are thinking about creating their own company, they have to take that into account. The user experience is very, very important.
Yes, because normal human beings use it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, also, I have to say something in defense of the developers, because so far, up to very recently, the robots were only sold to developers themselves. They were not actuating with normal people. We said service robots, but actually we're not serving normal people yet. But now that we are entering into the real service robots that serve normal people, that they are not roboticists, they don't want to be, and so then the user interface makes a big impact. It's very, very important.
I mean, think about it. For example, if you have a bicycle, and every time you want to start your bicycle, you have to fix the chain. You have to tension it, you have to oil, and then you have to test it, then you can start using a bicycle. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's
terrible. Or if you go into a car and you have to do a lot of command prompt commands and load a lot of things and then troubleshoot, then you can start moving.
Yeah, exactly.
The same for our robot, because if we treat something as, if you want to make a product, it must be a whole product. It cannot be half a product. Yeah. A whole product includes the entire user interface, the user experience, and a good product has a very good user experience.
Yeah, that is right. So very good message for the audience that are thinking about creating their own company, robotics startup, and creating robotics products. So please take that into consideration, guys. And let me tell you one thing. So your company won the Amsterdam Innovation Award in 2020, and being one of the main points, the interaction of the robot with the existing cleaners. So how does your robot interact with the cleaners, and why building that relation with the cleaner is so important.
Yes. So many people, when they see a cleaning robot come in, the first thought they have is, oh no, this robot is going to replace the cleaner. The cleaner is going to lose his job. It can't be further from the truth. Cleaners are precious. There are not enough of them. That's why people want robots to support the cleaners. But if you have a robot that's just a box, it's just a square, or just like a bin on wheels, now a cleaner won't be impressed. It's like, it's not inspiring. But if the robot, for example, like the one that won the Amsterdam Innovation Award is curvaceous and beautiful, it's like a work of art. So when the cleaner has it, the cleaner deploys the robot, the cleaner will feel proud of it. And when people want to take pictures with the robots, the cleaner will feel this is my robot. And they feel a sense of satisfaction and pride. Now, the interaction between the robot and the cleaner would come from, for example, as the cleaner is using the robot, the cleaner is chalking up user hours. So the cleaner can show the boss, I've used so many hours, I'm experienced with this robot. And the cleaner will see the certificates that appear on his app that, oh, you know, you have a 500-hour user, you know, you are now trained on this robot, and they feel that, yeah, you know, I'm a professional.
Okay.
Yes, because a lot of times a service job like cleaning, seldom they would relate it to robots, because we don't see it in normal life. So we wanted to make it unthreatening, we wanted to make it welcoming, we wanted to make it like a fun for the cleaners to use.
Okay, yeah, so by putting attention into those things, you can make that the integration between the existing workers already and the robots is more successful, is smoother, and it works. So, and then I think that this is another point of interest for the people that are thinking about creating their own startups, that they have to consider, and we never consider because we are engineers, so we are thinking about solving the problem, the technical problem, but not the other. So together with the UX experience, I think that this point about one thing is the user experience and the other one is the integration in the system, in the place where the robot is going to be working with the existing humans that were working there.
I find that the most important point is not to go in and change how people work, but rather to go in and to make it a drop-in process that it doesn't replace or change how they work, but rather it complements how they work. Yeah. Because to change people's behavior is very difficult, but to understand how they work and to have a robot that just assists them perfectly in that scope is perfect.
Yeah, but at some point, I do agree on that, but I see that a little bit of problem in the sense that at some point, the robot is going to change the current behavior of the person.
Allow me to explain. What I meant from a cleaning perspective was, so the robot is going to focus on cleaning the floor. And normally, in terms of cleaning the floor, we have to sweep the floor first, and we have to push the things away. But rather than expecting the users to do a lot more things, we build all these smarts into the robot so that the robot is able to pick up leaves and small debris, and the robot is able to see obstacles and avoid them. So from a cleaner's perspective, he just press start. I don't expect him to do anything more than that. So it becomes much easier. I don't expect him to change the environment or to make it perfect so that the robot will work, because it will be too much work for them.
Okay, I see the point, I see. Okay, clearer now. Then, so let me ask you, so you have three main lines, right, of robots at present, so the commercial products, I mean. Right, and then I will put a link to each one of them on the show notes. No, so it's okay. And then, so you have those products. They are out there. They have been deployed in many places around the world. Right, not only in Singapore, but in many places around the world. But still, what are the challenges that still need to be solved in robotics for better cleaning robots?
Yes. There are multiple challenges. One is different form factors, because
Different what? Sorry?
form factors,
Ah,
different sizes of the robots. Because when we clean, we talk about cleaning spaces. A building may be huge, but maybe every room is small.
Okay.
So we think of the different form factors. Another challenge would be making the robots even easier to use, such that any user could use it. Some other challenges include being able to overcome or maybe to detect certain obstacles, like very thin wires on the floor.
For example.
Yes, or for example, a plate on the floor. So all these are improvements that are needed, because the more real-world examples that we are being deployed in, the more strange things that can happen. So the robot has to get smarter and easier to deploy.
Yeah. Yes. Now that you mentioned about this third part of problems, of challenges, then I think that's one of the most complex. I would call it the corner cases or edge cases, exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have autonomous cars at present on the streets. I mean, that we can take an autonomous car is because there are so many corner cases, and they are putting in danger the lives of people. So, but in the case of a cleaning machine, so it's a corner case, I mean, it can make things a little bit dirtier, but not dangerous.
Yes.
So that's why. So in your case, the challenges about detecting those corner cases and being able to avoid them will end in a cleaner situation, but not in safer, right?
Correct.
Yes.
It doesn't affect safety.
Safety, exactly. That's what I mean. Yes, but there should be. I don't know if you are keeping a kind of a database of corner situations that you have encountered, because probably you have encountered a lot of different, right? And then you have to be polishing one by one or something like that.
So what happens is that we have a voice of customer program where we take in all of our dealers' comments and problems that we face, and then we have one gigantic list.
Yes, of problems, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes there are compliments, but mostly problems.
Okay, and then so you mentioned just a few questions more, but you mentioned that your robots, they are deployed in airports and large public places, but I had to be sincere here. So I haven't seen any. Why aren't we seeing more robots like this, cleaner, on the airports? Why I don't go to the airport here in Singapore, and then I see the robots there cleaning? Yes. Why?
Well, actually, depending on the time that you go, you can see our robots running at Changi Airport.
Okay.
You must go at the right time.
Okay.
And also, another thing is, most of the time, they deploy the robots when it is not so busy, so that you have a much higher cleaning efficiency. I mean, imagine if you have loads and loads of people coming, the robot would just keep doing obstacle avoidance. It wouldn't have much of a good cleaning efficiency in that sense.
Okay.
So like in a building, in a typical shopping mall, the robot will be operating before the shoppers come in.
Open.
Or after the shoppers have left. So that's why you may not see so many of them.
Okay.
But if you go when the cleaner is cleaning, you see things running around.
Okay. Then, well, actually tomorrow I have to take the plane to go back, and then I will see if I will ask you later about the perfect time. Maybe I'm lucky. No, but I mean, the reason of my question is that I feel that robots are still not being used that much for cleaning those larger spaces. In my mind, I think that your cleaning robots and other cleaning robots from other companies also, they should be used more, because in an airport that's the perfect place for using. But I don't feel like those robots are being used in general sense. And then I don't know if it is that I am missing the times or there is any other problem or any other...
Actually, no. I would say that because cleaning robots are taking off in a big way. So right now, if you look at the number of cleaning robots in the world and we take all the numbers declared by every single industry player, it's probably something like 30,000 robots. But this is compared to millions of cleaners. So that's why it is a drop in the ocean. I would say once we cross the like 500,000 robot range, right, you're gonna see them everywhere.
Okay.
And it's something that you wouldn't really notice until you start noticing it.
Okay. I got your point. So then maybe we can do similarity with the robots at the warehouses.
Yes.
So up to a few years ago, there were no robots at the warehouses, and then now they are everywhere in all the warehouses, right? And so maybe the cleaner robots for those open spaces, because a warehouse, it was an easier problem because it's more structure, and the people that is and the warehouses, they are qualified people that they know. But in the airports, for example, or shopping malls, they can encounter, as you mentioned before, kids and many people that doesn't know. So the environment is less structured, so it was more difficult to attack problems. So maybe now it has reached the point where our robots, the robots that we are building, the community, so they are now ready to attack that problem, and they are starting to get into the airports and the shopping malls.
Yes. And something like the R3 it reached a price point where a lot of businesses can deploy it.
Okay, that price was another thing. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Price and size, ease of use. So you're gonna see a lot of cleaning robots around you soon.
Okay. And then just to finish, would you like to share with the audience about what are your future projects and challenges that you're working?
I would say one thing that really struck me was this. If you see the development of a prototype, for us, a prototype can be done within 2 months, a working prototype.
Wow.
With 3D printing and all that. Finishing the project to bring it from design to first article of production line would be between 8 to 12 months. But if you really look at it, that is version 1 that comes out. To make it into to bring it from like 95% to 100%, that last 5% could take another year.
Yes, I know.
Now, my recommendation will be, don't wait for the perfect product. It will never happen.
Yeah.
Rather, we found that a lot of the learnings came from having a good enough product in the market, and we see how people use it, we learn, and then we improve into version 2. That really helped us, because many times we expect perfection.
Yeah.
But perfection doesn't come in a vacuum. We won't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And by testing within a warehouse, within our own facilities, you can't catch all the edge cases.
No.
You can't catch different usage patterns. You can't catch different floor types. You can't catch anything.
Yeah, expectations from the user, for example.
Yes.
You need to have this feedback directly from them.
Yes, and if you just do a trial with a user, that is not real.
No, yeah.
When they spend money to buy it and they start shouting at you, that is real. All right, and on top of that, when you start, if you only run like 3 years of testing in your own premises, yes, you would have built the perfect robot for your premise, but not for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Hence, going to market is so important. And for us, the challenge now is the last 5%, how to make everything perfect, how to make things much better, because now at least we've got much more robots in the market, so we are able to understand more edge cases, we were able to see what else is needed and how to make it better.
Okay, so that will be your challenge, which is not, I would say it's not a technical challenge. Well, at the end, it converts into a technical challenge, but it's more about a challenge about making better products,
Yes.
right? Making better.
And it involves everybody. It involves
everybody,
the
exactly.
UX certifications, involves programming, involves like front end and back end, it involves mechanical, it involves production, how to make a better product.
Yeah. That's a very good lesson for the people that are thinking about creating their own startup based on robots and on building robots. Well, and also if even it's not robots, whatever.
Yes.
So because again, we are engineers, we are thinking about the technical problem, and that's a very important part. Needs to be solved, but it's not the only one, and it's not even. I would say it's not even the most important one.
It's just like cooking. I mean, you can't cook the perfect steak if you just don't try.
Exactly. Start making one, see how it tastes, why this time, why this amount of salt, why the, yes, okay. Okay, perfect. So thank you very much, Dylan, for your time here and for your inspiring words, and best of luck with your challenges.
Sure. Thank you, and I wish all of your listeners, a great career and a great start in robotics. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.